Welcome to this edition of the MARC Monthly Roundup. My name is Centaur, and I am here as your host tonight. We will have other hosts in the future, but for now, tonight I am just your lonely host who will be taking care of you. And so we are here looking at the Mid-Atlantic Regional Competition, or MARC League, kind of what's been going on this month and last month, and over the next month as well. Really answering the question, Riders of Rohan, what news from the MARC? And so as we prepare to jump in, we're just going to take a quick look at what's been going on here in the middle of the Atlantic coast here in the United States of America. To start off with, there really wasn't a whole lot of events last month in the month of August. We had the Summer Skirmish that was held on Saturday, August 17th, which was a MARC 70 event. This was hosted at Waterloo Games in Mechanicsville, Virginia by Chris Young. If you haven't had a chance to go to a Chris Young tournament, you really should. He runs a really tight ship. It is a lot of fun. Great people tend to gather there. Speaking of which, 24 players came out to this event, which is fantastic. 3 games, 500 points, loads of fun. I reasonably believe that Chris is going to be doing some more events for us starting in the next season. More on that in a little bit. But mostly the reason why there wasn't as much in August is because people were doing a lot of practice and prep for early September. And we saw, of course, here in the Mid-Atlantic region, one of the largest tournaments in the country, but also by far the largest here for the MARC, which is the Nova Open. It is hosted at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Washington, D.C. Very, very fancy schmancy place. I had the chance to go to the Nova Open in 2022, and then I had some small children, so it makes it a little harder to go out there for 1, 2, or 3 days for an event. So I don't end up doing that. But this was hosted on Friday, September 5th for the doubles event, and then on the 6th and 7th for the grand tournament by Devin Moreno. And if you don't know Devin, you really should get to know him. Fantastic guy, very good player in his own right, and an incredible TO. He has a great team that surrounds him, but I mean, his events, as you see there, 64 players for a doubles tournament. That is 32 teams in a doubles tournament, which is incredible. They got in 3 games, 700 points in a single day. Phenomenal work by the tab team to keep everything moving and keeping it going. Devin's incredible at that. And then you get to the grand tournament the next day, 2 days, 5 games, 700 points, 84 players. I want to say at one point there was as many as 90 people who signed up, and then, you know, the typical people get sick or people can't make it out, you know, at the very last minute sort of things going on, which is fine. Yeah, like at one point, 90 people signed up and 84 actually competed, and they ran a tight schedule, which is fantastically good. So huge thank you to Devin for running these. They're a blast every single year. Looking forward to a future one that I will hopefully be able to go to. It'll be loads of fun. And then actually this upcoming weekend, we have another event going on this September, the Master of the MARC Tournament. So over the course of the last season, people have been ranking up points, and the top 16 players, and then we've also invited in a couple of alternates as well, in case, you know, people have scheduling conflicts and things like that to kind of fill in for those people. But the people who place at the top 16 over the course of the year get invited to this specialty tournament. So they'll be playing 4 games, counts as a MARC 100 to your final score. It'll be hosted at Huzzah Hobbies in Ashburn, Virginia, and it'll be run by Casey Campbell. I've gone to a Casey Campbell tournament, Fords of the Potomac 4? One of those, one of the Fords of the Potomac tournaments. Casey does a great job. He's also, again, one of those TOs, just keeps things moving, keeps it fun, keeps it interesting, gives away, you know, some extra points if you have an actual like thematic, fun sort of list back in the days before we had the new edition. And so, like, you know, Casey's all about the theme and the feel, while still obviously rewarding for the crunch. And so, fantastic event. I think it's going to be really great this upcoming weekend. They're going to be giving out first, second, and third place awards along with Best Painted. And it'll be the closeout to the 2024 to 2025 season. And so with this as the knowledge, we're going to take a quick jump before we look at what's coming up over the next month, because the writers are bringing news. We've got some exciting stuff going on to lead off the beginning of the league. I want to do a quick check on where the standings are at right now in the MARC League. If you've been playing anywhere around here, you'll probably notice a bunch of these names. And even if you're not from the Mid-Atlantic region, even if you're not from the United States, you might actually recognize some of these names. But currently, in order from 1st to 20th that we're counting on this screen, we have Ted Cantu, Scott Dronfield, Alicia Aminov, Sam Frick, Stephen Dronfield, Caleb Silverglide, Josh Grimmer, Max Johnson, Stephen Page, Cole Sherrera, Bruno Dell'Alamo, Andrew Inga of Tabletop Admiral fame. If you use Tabletop Admiral, he's here in the top ranks, so we're very excited. Good job. Thank you, Andrew, for your contributions to the league. Joshua Brown, Aaron Cook, Michael Ireland, Adam Shearless, and then we have Stephen McLaughlin, John Schlosser, Connor Felton, and Christopher Wemple on tap, rounding out the top 20. In terms of the people who will be competing, once you drop the people who couldn't make it and the people that we bumped up as alternates in order to take their places, this is what the seeding looks like for round one as we head into the MARC Championships. Ted Cantu will be playing against Tyler Douglas. Scott Dronfield will be against Austin Featherstone, who is also a tournament organizer here in the area. Alicia Aminov will be playing against Christopher Wemple. Sam Frick will be up against Stephen McLaughlin. Caleb Silverglad will be playing against Joshua Brown. Josh Grimmer will be playing against Aaron Cook. Stephen Page against Andrew Inga. And Cole Sherrera against Bruno Dell'Alamo. Should be loads of fun. I might even see if I can drop by for a small portion of the day just to say hi to everybody. Who knows? The riders might do a little bit of on location reporting. It'll be fun. But suffice it to say, we're closing out a great season. It's been a good start for year one of the MARC League, and we're really looking forward to year two. And so to kick us off, what do we see coming up on the horizon? For the next 60 days, we've got 3 events going on, and then technically there's another one that's like right outside the cusp of 60 days. So there is more going on than this, but they're all tight and close together, which is awesome. The first event that's going to be going on is called You Have My Sword, My Bow, and My Axe. This will be taking place the following next Saturday, September 20th at Bazooka Games in Westminster, Maryland. It's just right over there in the shopping mall over there in Westminster. And it'll be hosted by Austin Featherstone. It'll be 3 games, 700 points. There's a maximum of 50 players, and I don't believe they've hit the maximum yet. So if you have a chance, and if you want to have just some really good fun under a good TO who's been doing this for a long time, Austin comes to us from the Texas circuit. They've had a league a lot longer than we have, so he's very familiar with league play and the importance of solid rulings that'll make sure that people who are playing well are being rewarded and that they're able to get their stuff in and that they're able to get the scores they need. Go ahead and sign up for that. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be a blast. Next, we have the 4th annual Tavern Brawl on the following Saturday, September 27th, at Your Hobby Place, Fredericksburg, Virginia. This is hosted by Chris Hobart. Chris Hobart has hosted, 4 Tavern Brawls, and the Tavern Brawl is a cool format. It's 300 points. So it's small, right? But the result is you can have 45-minute games, and so you can get in like 6 games, which means the people who actually go undefeated, you can't just say, well, they fluked out. They had 3 games against, so-so people. No, like you played against really, really high-end people the whole time. And, you're not going to be seeing the Balrog or, a dragon, because I think there's a minimum of at least 3 models. So I don't think you'll see dragons either. It's actually a little bit tricky to do even an Eagles sort of army at that points level just because of how much Wyhair takes up. And so it kind of takes some of the skew, not all of it, obviously, but it takes some of the skew out of it and makes it so that there's more room for different kinds of lists to be able to succeed. My beloved Shire army might actually do pretty well. So if you have an interest in it, again, it's a different format, but it's a fun format. So if you want to just give it a try, go ahead and sign up. As far as I know, again, not filled yet. So go ahead and take a look. You can find it on Facebook. Just search for 4th Annual Tavern Brawl. You'll find it. It won't take you long to find. And then the following weekend on October 4th, so if you really don't have much going on in September and October, you should just do Lord of the Rings, man. This is what we do. Just play the game. You can go to, again, Your Hobby Place in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Same place as you were the weekend before. Easy to remember. Good logistics. John Schlosser is hosting the To War Escalation Tournament. And if you haven't done an escalation tournament, these are loads of fun, okay? Because you start at like 1 points level, and then the next tournament is at a higher points level. Next one's at a higher points level. So even if you're new, you just paint up a couple models, get them ready, get to that 650 point limit. And then you have some time before you have a month after that, November 8th, before you have to have the next 100 points painted. And then you got another month, December 6th, until you have to have the next the next 100 points painted. And so very easy to do. It is really good fun. And if you've never done escalation, you're in luck. You're coming in right at the beginning of the train, man. You can ride it the whole way down, okay? So this is definitely something you want to do. They have a maximum of 40 players. They haven't hit it yet, so you should definitely consider signing up. You'll, again, find this. Just look for the Facebook event page. It's not particularly difficult to find. and you'll be all set. So some exciting stuff to get us headed into the next 60 days. Now, we're not typically going to do this as part of the writers bringing you word here, but one thing I thought we'd do since we're coming up on the end of a season is just kind of taking a look at some of those quick stats for all the nerds, because we know that in this group there are a few people who are nerds. And so to lead off with, we had 248 unique participants. We had 30 events take place across the league in the last season, and these range from escalation events to singles tournaments to doubles tournaments to theme-heavy sort of tournaments. Very exciting mix of different stuff. We had 11 distinct tournament organizers running events for us, so huge thank you to all of you guys. But I did want to specifically highlight Robert Loader and Alicia Aminoff because Robert hosted 6 events. And because he was helping at the Richmond Open, some of those events were going on at the same time. So huge thank you, Robert, to just giving the time and the energy to the league. Really appreciate it. Alisher, of course, he's big in the Philly part of the region, and he put on 5 events this year. And they were happening throughout the year. And so huge thank you, Alisher and Robert. Between the two of you guys, you put up a third of the events for the league. So huge thank you, guys, for making us better at what we are. Don't burn out, and continue providing us with really cool experiences and fun experiences to play the game. Just a few quick looks at some of the top lists this season that we saw. Obviously, we're working off of sporadic correlated data, but the stuff that percolated to the top, we had our fair share of Eagle complaints. Obviously, Eagle armies went through. As soon as the new edition dropped, we immediately saw people buying Eagles, modeling Eagles, and you had like whole tournament tables just of Eagles, right? That's moderated a little bit over as the season went on, but yeah. So if you live in one of those parts of the world where you're miffed about the preeminence of Eagles, we had that too. We get it. Similarly, Isengard performing really well, and that's not particularly surprising. I mean, even outside the league, when you look at things like Articon had. Most of the top players were playing Army of the White Hand. And so, sure enough, we saw Army of the White Hand as well. People love Saruman. People love Grima, apparently. I'm personally more of an Ugluk Scouts person myself, and we even saw some success with those guys. So, but in general, if somebody was bringing Isengard, you knew that, they were here to play, and they had a rule set that was going to help them out. And sure enough, they did pretty well. So, good on you, boys. We also saw, obviously, as the season progressed, because I'm going to try to get with my finger. There we go. The Armies of Middle-earth book didn't drop at the beginning of the season. So because of that, when Kingdom of Khazad-dûm came about, we immediately saw people starting to use it. One, because dwarf players are dwarf players. So the moment you give them their armies back in a book, they're going to play them. And so sure enough, we saw them coming out in force. But two, they are really good this edition. They got even better archery protection than they had before. They're still getting reroll 1s to wound, which is harder to get now because you can't just feint with a sword anymore. They still have really durable troops. The archery protection meant that dropping to D6 Iron Guard wasn't nearly as bad as, getting away from that D7 in terms of archery protection. And so, yeah, just a lot of really good stuff going for them. And so glad the dwarf players get to have their day in the sun, literally in the sun. Thanks to the rule set, and that you guys are having so much fun with that. Love it for you guys, because you guys were waiting very patiently, and so I'm glad that you guys got rewarded. We also saw a renewed faith in the Men of the West Legendary Legion, and now that we have this army list that one allows the heroes to take horses. That's probably one of the bigger changes, but also there are some other changes, not some of the restrictions that were in there before got removed. And so the result is we saw a lot more people actually running this, and not running it, ironically, or with an aim to try to break the meta. Like, they were just running it because they thought it was really good. And we saw it perform really well. So for all those people who love Men of the West, have loved Men of the West, put in the reps, and I'm specifically thinking of Team Matt Tiberius, who's been, really, really rooting for Men of the West for a very long time. Glad to see that it's being rewarded finally for you guys. And then, of course, we saw Depths of Moria. It's hard to believe that, to some extent, shall we say, the Goblin Drum got better this edition, because now you can't shoot it, you can't remove it, you can't. And that is still battlefield wide. It's insane. And so we saw it early on, but we've seen it less and less as the season went on. And so there's a question as to whether maybe it's losing steam. Maybe people are beginning to realize Fight 2 is really not going to do as well. Maybe it's, it may not be as easy to break your army, but there actually aren't that many scenarios in the match play guide where breaking the army is going to be the make or break on who wins the scenario. It's an additional set of points typically, but it's not that many by comparison now that we're not on a 12-point system, we're on a 20-point system. And so I'm not sure if it's that. I'm actually hesitant. I don't think it's actually that people don't like it anymore. I suspect that it's actually that because this book dropped, the Armies of Middle-earth book, a bunch of people who had been playing Depths of Moria were like, well, now I want to play with all the other models that I haven't been able to play with. And so near the end of the season, we started seeing more and more people bringing those kinds of armies. And so they weren't bringing Depths of Moria. That's my suspicion. Season 2 of the MARC might give us some insight, because if we still don't see Depths of Moria coming, then maybe our region just doesn't like it as much. And that'd be very interesting stats for all of y'all to know. I think that's all the news we have for today. So we will be back with you all again. My hope in the future is that we'll have some other guests on with us to kind of talk about events and what happened there and share stuff. If there are stats that you would like to see, we're going to be starting a painting competition this year as part of our events. So, well, in addition to keeping rankings for how people have scored for the events, we might also include like, these are the painting guys and who's been winning painting awards, and these are the armies that they have that are winning painting awards, stuff like that. I think that could be very exciting. But if there's other stuff that you want to know, what lists are doing well blow by blow each month as we do these updates, maybe which lists are not doing well and are consistently coming in near the bottom, let us know down in the comments below, and I will see you next time.